Right, yeah, guys, awesome. It's been about a year since we last spoke, and so it is a pleasure to catch up with you again. So, going around the room, we'll start with Jim. How are you?
Hello, Carl. Yeah, I'm good. Really good. I'm excited for our album coming out next Friday. So yeah, doing great.
Love to hear it. Peter.
Same here. Really, really good. It's been a good year, definitely, since the last year. That's You've seen us as Hammer. So yeah, a lot of things have happened and definitely exciting.
Right. And Dave, you're gonna follow suit? Everything good with you?
Yeah, all good, man. Good to see you again. Um, Been a great year. It's going to be an even better one in a couple of
Hmm.
weeks. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute, though.
Oh, aye, yes, absolutely. There's a long list of questions just related to that specifically, but we'll get to that in a moment. I do want to reflect on the
Perfect.
last year, in fact, actually, because it has been a good year. At least from my perspective, looking at what you've been up to and what you've been doing. All right, it's picked up momentum in the last couple of months, but even still, coming off the back of, Bloodstock last year, 1 year exactly to pretty much when we spoke.
Yeah.
Jim, when you reflect on the last year overall, as far as Hammer's concerned, are you happy with what you've accomplished?
Yeah, man. I think like thinking about the last time we spoke, you probably asked us what's next, like what we're looking to do in the
Mm.
future. And I think we followed through as much as we can with saying we want to use it as a as a stepping off point so that we can, keep on going. And I'm happy with it. Immediately after Bloodstock got into recording the album that's coming out. We've put out two music videos, two singles. Obviously, we started the year with a tour. We played like a bunch of stuff. For like, there's that dread in it. Like after you play Bloodstock, like, oh, is this the best it's ever gonna get? But I
Mm.
think I think it's only gonna get better. I think as a band, we're continuing to, get better at what we do. Um, but also just, we're getting closer as people as always. It's been ace. It's been a good year for Hammer.
Excellent summation. Pia, what about you? Are you happy with what you've accomplished? Satisfied when you look back at the year?
Definitely. I mean, Bloodstock was the big thing, and I totally agree. It's like hard to follow that. It's like
Mm.
every other gig after that. Is it going to be as good? But to be fair, it's always good. They're always fun, and wherever you play, however many people you play in front of, it's continues to be good fun for me.
Mm.
And yeah, the recording of album and all the other stuff linked with it, like singles, videos. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stress sometimes to get that all organized, but it's always that when you get it out, that's the bit it's worth it for. You get that video and you can actually, that's something that we've done. That's something that's like, collectively or had
Mm.
individual contribution towards something that's somewhere out there and someone random person somewhere will see. So like it's continuing to be that. It's continuing to be those little bits and pieces that's it's nice. So someone will enjoy this other than us, and that's fun.
I've I've seen some of the numbers on the latest videos, the two videos in particular. I think it's more than just one person or a couple of people, guys.
Exactly.
Dave, your opinion on the last year, or should I say your feelings on the last year? Satisfied?
Extremely. I couldn't have asked for better. We've done some mad stuff that I never ever
Hmm.
thought we would ever do. Not just playing Bloodstock, like doing like when we supported Brujeria, and
Mm.
supported Meth as well. Just yeah, just a bunch of mad stuff. Like I never even thought I'd ever have a vinyl out with my name on it. So
That's
so yeah,
incredible, isn't it? It's an
it's
incredible
nuts, man.
accomplishment to have that.
Yeah.
And you don't,
Was
still a week, over a week.
You know what I mean.
yeah. We're sticking with you, Dave. You can get this
Yeah.
ball rolling then, because I just want to touch one more thing on about last year. Because obviously you play Bloodstock for a lot of bands, it is the highest point they'll ever reach, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
We talked at the time last year, kind of wanting to make sure, that you had that feeling of momentum that we'd continue to go after the festival. I feel like that's very much the case. But what I
Yeah.
want you to reflect upon is what, if anything, do you think you learned from the experience of actually playing a festival the size of Bloodstock,
Oh,
Dave?
man. I think the biggest thing I learned is don't take anything for granted, genuinely. And there's experiences like that don't come around very often. And when they do, you've just got to grab it with both hands and just appreciate every single moment of it. Even from like our setting up, like working with the stage crew on the New Blood stage, they're amazing people. They made us feel like friggin' rock stars. Yeah, just appreciate all of it and don't take any of it for granted. That's that's
Well,
that's my biggest takeaway from that.
well said, well said. Peter, what about you?
Um, kind of similar to Dave's, but at the same time, quite feeling quite positive about that.
Hmm.
That these things are within reach. Like, you can be on that kind of stage. You can play to that many people. There's some luck to it. There is a lot of hard work to it. There's a lot of being able to know the right people and at the right time be in touch with them, and also, well, obviously, you still need to be a good band as well. But that there's a lot of other things that all together, well, allowed us to play Bloodstock,
Hmm.
and it was great. And it's like, so yeah, it is possible. Like, going to festivals, seeing those bands, when I was younger, I was always like, oh, how can you even get to play onto that stage? And then there's the other side of it. It's like, yeah, you actually can. It's,
Hmm.
achievable. So
Yeah.
it's kind of definitely filled me with like that positivity. We can do that. And hopefully again, people enjoyed us being there as well. It's always nice to see that.
Oh, absolutely. And you just keep hammering away, and then you get invited back, hopefully in the future. But Jim, what did you learn from the experience?
Like it's a number of things. I think you're there. It's about striking that balance, right? So you're there to um, you know, establish yourself as like a band and make sure that you're, making the most of like, the access to sort of like the press tent and stuff like that, so that you're not just rocking up and playing and like leaving afterwards. And that was really good. We got talking to the Vocal Zone team at the stage. We spoke to plenty of press whilst we were there. And that was really, really good. But it was also like, yeah, like as like Pio was saying, enjoying it and seeing it as like it shows you what's possible and it shows you what you can do, and just not forgetting that. So like, yeah, that balance between being professional but not taking it so seriously that you've been an ass. um and that's it, like Bloodstock was so cool. We were lucky that we played on the Friday, right? Because it meant that, we were very well behaved on the Thursday evening and throughout Friday. And then we were able to sort of enjoy the rest of the festival as as participants or whatever. But yeah, it's just the importance of networking, chatting to people. Um, but like remembering that most of the people at that festival are there because they love it. You know,
Hmm.
the crew, the people doing PR, the people, even a lot of the vendors who are there. It's awesome, and it just felt awesome to be actually a part of that, right? At a festival that I've been to, that I'm
Yeah.
going again to this year. Sick to just be part of it and just, yeah, like be professional, but also, as people said, remember that, yeah, it's something that you're part of and enjoy it.
You can, that will never be taken away from you. In 2024, you were part of that festival. You're on
Mm.
that lineup. That poster exists. You played, and many people saw you and enjoyed it. So yeah, well put. But okay then, let's move forward. Let's move to now then, because we are less than 2 weeks away from the release of your album Trapped, August 1st, 2025. It's a busy, busy period of time. A lot could be going on, but there's also times when nothing's going on. So I kind of want to gauge what is going on right now individually for you all. So starting with you, Jim, what right now is keeping you busy as far as the build to the release goes?
So like a lot of the marketing, right? It's making sure that we're pushing it on platforms, that we're constantly monitoring, the output of that to see what's working. And we've been doing that right throughout the release cycle. I mean, that's been one of the most awesome things about doing Trapped is like I've done albums before, but nothing quite
Mm.
on this scale. And like, yeah, learning that end to end process. But yeah, for us, it's making sure that we're generating content, posting content, boosting content, so that we're getting the music, because like I was like, we were having a chat about this earlier. I was saying, like we should, we don't want to get too worked up about pre-orders because think about it, you generally don't pre-order from a band that you've never really heard of before, and
Mm.
we're pretty underground at the moment, so we're pushing that. But the main thing is just growing the amount of people that might listen to the album. So with all the marketing stuff, it's targeting audience growth rather than like directing them to the Bandcamp to click pre-order because we hope the music will sell itself when it's out. So yeah, I've been pretty busy with keeping an eye on that side of things.
The eternal battle to get your head above the water, to paraphrase with the
Oh yeah.
algorithm. Just
Oh
keep
yeah.
plugging away. Hopefully, people will notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Piotr, how about you? Is there anything particularly that's been keeping you busy at the moment?
In terms of Hammer, I'm not
Hmm,
doing the social media, so at this
lucky
point,
you.
at this point, not that much. We're obviously been sorting out kind of all the finances stuff side
Mhm.
of that, and I've been looking a bit into that. But to be fair, it's really very little that there's left just now
Yeah.
before the release. Obviously, Jim might have a slightly different view of that. With very little being ch checking the marketing outcomes, the all the different things, how that is all working out. But at least from my perspective, we've done a lot in
You feel
advance.
ready?
There isn't any kind of rush to finish anything, or we're not like, oh, is this going to arrive on time? Is this going to be ready on time? It's kind of all there. Now it's just let's get it out there.
You feel ready?
Hmm.
Oh, well, yeah, I do personally because I don't touch Meta for Business or Instagram or anything.
Fair enough. Dave, what about you? Are you relaxing? Are you getting to put your feet up?
I wouldn't say that. But no, pretty much the same as Piot. Jim and Adam have done such an awesome job with the social media and the marketing. Um, it's not really left a lot for the rest of us to do
Mm.
because they've got it so handled and it's going so well. Um, yeah, I'm pretty much a logistics guy. I like went to pick up the vinyls and, and all that kind of stuff.
Well then, come back to you, Dave, then. I mean,
Cool.
focusing on the build period overall, so from the very first moment the album gets announced effectively to where we are right now, what have been some of your favorite things to do along the way that perhaps you've enjoyed creatively compared to just, making music?
Doing the videos.
Yeah?
Videos were so much fun, yeah. Um, yeah, just getting to be mad and do some just frankly strange stuff, like get covered in slime in
Mm.
a in a locker room shower, and to get in the film in the venue in Edinburgh when it was empty when we filmed Trapped. Yeah, just that stuff's been just loads of fun.
Okay, cool. How about you, Peter?
Um, I did enjoy seeing all the things coming together, all the different
Mm.
bits that were being created to kind of come together. The photo shoots that we were doing summer and actually see how those photos get into the booklets or into the promo stuff. The
Mm.
videos that we're recording, how that actually, the moment we get back, like an edited video and watching, it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. This is all those different bits. Seeing them, like all those different short videos that Jim has created with some kind of with Adam's help to get all the noises into that. You hear that, and it's like this is actually really cool. This is like from a horror film, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that they have just kind of it was just them, the friends sitting together, just creating some of that stuff together, slapping it together into a some sort of short thing, and it's like, oh yeah, this is cool.
How about you, Jim?
Yeah, the video content was a lot of fun. So like the whole
Yeah.
idea behind that, like the teaser clips was like we're going down a like sort of that found footage analog horror sort of road, which is something I could go on for ages and ages and ages. And just yeah, creating those like 7 second videos was awesome. I'd like create like a template, I'd send it across, Adam would then create some noise for it, get it back, put it together, sort of edit it. That was a lot of fun. Really like fun process and like tying it into the narrative and the theme and the mood of the two videos as well was wicked. Like the whole video process for this has been like yeah, really cool. You know, like just getting creative with it. The goo we used in the basilisk video, I made that myself. That was a mixture of water, um, food coloring, and what was the stuff I used for that?
Xanthan gum, xanthan gum.
Yeah,
Ah,
xanthan gum. Yeah,
Something.
yeah. So just mix that together, put it in a paint, not a paint, like a garden sprayer, and just like sprayed it on ourselves. That was like so much fun. And then like, like most recently, like going to the vinyl plant, because we're pressed locally with Seabass vinyl in Tranent, and like go into the plant and actually seeing from end to end the little puck come out, get crushed down, get passed across, get trimmed around the edge, and seeing the production of the vinyl. It's just like bucket list stuff.
yeah.
It's been cool like so much, and it's nuts because we've been, as I say, like we pretty much since last September have been working on this on like the actual recording. So it's almost been a year in make in making, if not longer, with the writing of the songs beforehand.
Mm.
So like it's just seeing like how much work goes into it other than the music and being able to get involved with that so much ourselves has been awesome. And like we've been working with some really cool creative people to do that as well. So with like Alan, our photographer who did the trap video, who also
Yep.
shot a lot of the stuff from the Basilisk, working with like people from the PR companies and yeah, just like it's been really cool. Like doing all this work rather than just recording something and releasing it a week later. It's been sick.
You've all, as a group, it's fair to say you've all enjoyed the build. You're not at that stage where you're kind of just sick of it and want the album out.
No, I wouldn't say
Well,
so. Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
know,
say so. I think.
it's I did mention it is sometimes stressful,
Hmm.
because there's a the moment you announce the album coming out, you essentially are setting yourself a deadline. Obviously,
Hmm.
you can have it coming soon, but even if it's not publicly announced, you do have some sort of deadline because you can't have it coming soon for like 8 months. So from that point, there is going to be time pressure being added, and that
Mm,
sometimes was the case that
mm,
we had to, actually get down to organizing some things or working through some stuff or getting scrambling to get the location for shooting for in videos and all that kind of thing. Something falls through. We need to get it. We're limited in to some extent with time, so
Mm.
it's not always just like easy breezy. I think that the I would say the actual recording of the album what we done initially, that was probably the most laid back thing of it. The actual recording of music was probably, the easiest thing, probably because of the ways that we have done it, which I don't know whether you're going to be asking us about. I'm not going to, go f too far to the future, but I was going to just say that there's always some stress to that because
yeah.
there is some sort of pressure, even if it's being kind of put on us by ourselves in a way.
Mm. Probably the hardest thing was for the first video for Basilisk. We actually shot basically what is a completely different video for that. We originally had booked out like like a local community center, like a five-a-side cage, and we were going to shoot at night with the spotlights on, and it was going to look
Mm.
very sick. Unfortunately, there was like an extreme wind and rain that night, so we couldn't have any of our equipment out there. And it was at that facility that we did all the sort of shower scenes in, where we're getting
Okay.
sprayed with the stuff. We actually filmed a full video in there because we just thought we've taken the day to do this. Why not just do it? We're originally going to use that. We kind of then upon reflection, we thought, we really want this to be top tier stuff. So we refilmed it, got it re-edited by was it Loki Films, And when we were going through that process, it was like, oh my God, are we going to have it ready on time? We've
Mm.
got to rework things and do it again. And like there's been some failure, through the process, but I guess that's only natural. Like it's a whole program of work. Like there's so many aspects to this with production of not just the merch, the videos, everything. Like it's such a big thing that I think it's inevitable that it's going to get a bit stressful at times. Um, but that's kind of a good thing, right? Like it shouldn't be easy.
Mm.
And like, as Piotr said, the easiest bit was recording because we've got plenty of experience of doing that before. This other stuff, it's kind of a first for I think pretty much all of us, like doing this big of a release. Um, so, there's for every time we've struggled, we've probably learned a hell of a lot. And I
Mm.
imagine that upon reflection, anything that we've been stressing about, and I'd probably be more than anyone been stressing as I do. But you look back on it and think, nah, that was a learning experience, and I'm lucky to have, got to have done that. Not everyone gets to do this. So yeah.
It's all part of the growth as an artist, as a person. These are all, say, learning experience.
Mm,
But of course, the last thing I'd want anyone to do is understate the hard work that you put into this. But we are at a stage where it's all coming to fruition. Well, we were almost at the stage, but we have had incredibly positive responses to Basilic and Trapped in a House with a Maniac, which is a great damn start. Dave, does that
Yeah.
put your mind at ease when you see that positive response to those two tracks? Does it put your mind at ease as to kind of how the full thing might be received?
Um, Not really.
Okay.
I don't mean that in a bad way though, because I want it to be well received, so it lights the. How do I make this make sense? Um, I want it to light the fire underneath us to keep that going.
Mm.
Keep up that intensity, that and live up to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. You don't want to get complacent, right? You don't want to just say, "Hey, they
Exactly.
like the first two singles. That means they're
mm.
all automatically going to love that album, and I don't need to do anything more. I don't need to think about it. They're just automatically, everyone's just going to love it."
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I don't
And
want
they
to be.
will.
I don't want us to be complacent. That's the thing. I don't get me wrong. I believe wholeheartedly in this album. I think people are going to love it. It's fantastic, if I say so myself. But it's kind of yeah. I don't know if it's maybe a case of like holding us to a high standard, something like that. But yeah, I want it to keep the fire lit underneath us so we can keep smashing it.
What do you think, Piotr?
Um, I I'm just interested to see how it's
Mm.
going to be received. I don't very often make that kind of assumption. So people are going to love it or people are going to hate it. Let's just see.
Mm.
I definitely think we've done a great job with the videos and singles. I think that they were really good. The album, I definitely think it's great. I like all the tracks that are on them, and just let's see if others do as well. I'm always been more of a kind of observing the effects rather than trying to predict if someone will like or not.
Well, of course, of course. But I will come back to that actually at the end. So you're going to have to predict something. But
Okay.
Jim, how about your mind? Do you get a little bit of ease when you sort of see the response to the singles?
Yeah, totally. Like, like you spend so much time doing stuff, and you get that anxiety before you push it out there. And those two tracks are a real good taster of the record. So it was nice to get, like a positive response for those, to get so much good press over it as well, through Kerrang and like Metal Hammer and like loads of online publications. It's been really like nice. Like that's like a lot of stuff that we wanted to do with this album, to get
Mm.
that sort of attention and to get that already without having put the album out yet. Yeah, like pretty happy about that. And yeah, I think as Dave says, it's like not just seeing that and being like, cool, that's it, no more. We can just, release it. It's like, no, that they like that. Pump more into the marketing for that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is nice. Like at the end of the day, like we're musicians ourselves. well, not musicians. We're listeners of music ourselves.
Mm.
We enjoy listening to music. Um, and you like, it's difficult to distance yourself and really, listen to it from that point of view. But to get that feedback from people, both people who we know who know us, but also like random people, new people, um, it's cool, it gives, yeah, you're responsible for keeping the fire going, but you need a bit of fuel as well. And I find
Hmm.
like when people are like being like, yeah, I dig that. That's like firewood, man. Like it helps, you know.
Yeah,
Well, of course, I mean, you're writing for yourself. You want to love what you're doing. You want to love the music you're creating. But if that someone else happens to love it too, even better.
Exactly.
absolutely.
Let's go back now, though. We're going to go back to writing, the writing sort of period of time, in particular the creative process that happened there, and vision. Was there a clear vision? And anyone can take this, please. Was there a kind of clear vision when you first sort of set out on this path to create this album?
I I wouldn't say so. I think it was just our thing has just kind of always been just to write killer songs,
Hmm.
be them like just heavy, intense, good heavy metal. Like with the writing process was a little bit strange because we didn't like sit down and go like this song is for the album.
Yeah.
Like when we recorded the first album before Jim joined the band, we still had some of these songs ready to go. Um, so yeah, it was just a case of like having a stockpile of songs that we could pick from for the live show more than
Yep.
sitting down and writing the album, you know?
Mm. It was initially like so with Bloodstock, we wanted to make sure we were following that up with some sort of release. We were having
Hmm.
discussions whether we were going to do just singles or whether we were going to do um, just like an EP or something like that. And we initially had the idea of doing, yeah, like two EPs and then like packaging them together. But then after getting a bit of advice, and just speaking to people, made sense to go at it as an album.
Okay.
And it is a short album, but very purposefully so. Like that's it. We want to come in, hammer it out, and then sort of leave people feeling a bit, oh, like they've been, smacked over the head with a hammer. It's about 29, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Um, it's the material for it the majority of it has existed for a little while. Some of it prior to me joining the band. Um, but we wanted this to be sort of, the guys obviously did the album many sort of years ago, but things have sort of grown and changed, and I think we
Hmm.
wanted to put together what's the best representation for Hammer as it is, for people who are new to us, and it's that statement, and I think as Dave says, we love writing songs. We write songs like all the time. We don't sort of sit down and do like concept sort of albums, although there is a
Hmm.
concept running through this album, which we eventually get onto. But you know, and it was just a case of thinking, right, what songs are going to work on this? We had some other things we thought we could work on and get onto this one, but we didn't want to rush writing them. So they've sort of been back on the shelf whilst we polished up what we thought the best of Hammer. Um, and put it onto this record. It's heavy. I'd say heavily like edited, and there's no filler on there. Like it's just 7 tracks um, that we believe in like a lot.
Yeah. They
Yeah, I
were
think
already
the
working
concept.
on Sorry, Bill.
Yeah, I think the concept for the album is kind of a post factum thing. We
Mm,
picked the songs that we wanted. That to be fair, that we wanted to some of the older ones that we wanted to have re-recorded with Jim and the current sound. Some new ones and even some that we haven't yet played live. As Dave said, majority of the stuff was the stuff that we've been playing live for ages, and we created an album, the first album out of that. And at that point, already there were more that we were playing live. So it's a bit of a mixture there that we just picked. Okay, we want these ones. Let's record them. Even though some of them are very old for
Hmm.
Hammer. It's still, we actually want to have this one in a new sound. And it's turned out that metaphorically, trapped ended up being fitting to all of these. But that was a very post post compilation of that idea. It's like, okay, let's call the album this way, and yeah, I guess all these songs can be kind of understood as this. Yeah, cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Trapped in a House with a Maniac, that's a song that's been around. I think that was like the first song we wrote after we recorded the first album.
Really?
And there was another version of it recorded a few years ago, but it's radically different now. It's a completely different song. And yeah, I was just going to say, Jim saying the album's quite short. Rain and Blood was only 29 minutes, so
Listen, I mean,
Ambitious.
you got to remember as well. The reason why I guess you debated singles, EPs, and things like that is because you're aware of how music is consumed these days.
Mhm.
It's not an
Mm.
insult to say that people's attention spans are questionable for the most part, and even in
Absolutely.
our heavy scene, dropping 45-minute long, 50-minute albums you just don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's risky. You have to be a certain type of band. Like, I mean, I think a band like Periphery can get away with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, band like us, maybe not so much. I don't want to put limits on what we do, but we're quite an intense band, and I think we've kind of established that. So that may be the process going forward. It may not. Don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no limits, no limits, right? But it just is
Yeah.
right now. This is what suited you. You wanted to reflect who you are right now, and as you say, you kind of well, I don't want to use the word stumbled, but you kind of came across this concept. Someone
Hmm.
want to take me down that path and explain what's going on here?
Yeah,
Go for
so
it, Jim.
Trapped, so like obviously, Trapped works 'cause, like, for us the single on the track, the big single is Trapped in the House of the Maniac. So
Hmm.
calling it Trapped kind of works, but each track has got elements of, entrapment on it. Basilisk is, the tale of I mean, if you think about the classic Basilisk, it's about being trapped in a maze, but this is about AI, Rocco's Basilisk, being so it's written from the perspective of somebody who is working tirelessly to ensure that an AI will exist in the future, and the AI will then not punish them as a result. I
Hmm.
must just say actually off the bat, so a lot of most of the songs were written by the time I joined the band, so Adam wrote like the majority of the lyrics. I added some stuff in as well. Um, so it's been fun, like working with it, because if you speak to me and you speak to Adam, some of the songs mean like completely different things.
Hmm.
Obviously, Mea Culpa, the opener track, is about entrapment within like dogma, and it's a lot of religious iconography in that song. About kind of, to me, like the trap of male guilt, falling into this trap of just being guilty and feeling like you always have to be improving yourself as a person, not just living your life. I wrote like the final part of that with where the blast beats on, and I found it so easy to write on top of kind of what Adam had already done. Obviously, Gollum is that Frankenstein story. So it's,
Hmm.
being a creator who's trapped in their own desire to keep perfecting and crafting this creature, this golem that
Well,
you know
Golem, it's a Golem story.
a
It's quite
golem
literally
story.
Golems.
Yeah, yeah. Gorehound, uh, almost that's being trapped in that circle of violence. Lyrically, it's very much about sort of kind of detective-y, Sherlock Holmesy, but it's, that trap of, violence. Alive is about being buried alive. You don't get much more trapped
Hmm.
than that. And like have I missed any out? I don't think I have. Oh
And
no, there's the Hanged
The
Man.
Hanged Man.
The Hanged
Hanged
Yeah.
Man,
Man, yeah.
which is about Odin, hanging himself from the Tree of Life.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, trapped in this constant cycle of having to learn knowledge, so much to the extent that he gave up one of his eyes to do so. So yeah, there's a lot in there about being trapped.
It's
And
very metaphorical, though. In some
Mm.
cases,
Hmm.
in some cases, it's very
Yeah.
straightforward. But
yeah,
yeah, as I said, we managed to find the entrapment of some sorts within all the songs that we have picked. So
How satisfying, right?
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, we can turn around and say, well, actually, this is the theme of the songs, and we
Yeah.
live in a time where aren't we all trapped in society in this cage of frustration and anger at the world? We could
Well,
absolutely
Yeah.
do that.
yeah.
well, also, it's going to be so much fun over time to experience other people's analysis of the music, what they get from it, what they might feel may not
Mm,
necessarily mean what you meant, but they will potentially have their own stories and feelings about it. And that could be a very exciting, interesting
that would be
time.
sick. That would be very
Absolutely, yeah.
sick.
So, Piotr, you kind of ruined this part, but yeah, I was going to talk about the recording phase. But clearly there were no notable issues and nothing that was particularly challenging for you. It was a smooth time overall.
Well,
Please share.
um, it's more that it wasn't excessively stressful to the recording. There's again, there's always some stress to it, but I think the main thing was there wasn't a time pressure there.
Hmm.
Well, I mentioned we or by the time we got to the point we want to release it as an album, we already had everything recorded. So we didn't actually need to worry about any of that. And when we were recording, we didn't have a date set. And therefore, we were just like, okay, we're just going to record it. And more or less, we want to have it edited by then. We want to have it mastered by then. But there wasn't a hard set date that we had to do it. And we've done it all quite in advance. So I don't know how far you want me to go into that, or whether others can say, but just to say the main thing of recording was drums. That's always the biggest kind of thing. That's is the most maybe not troublesome, but it's not something that you can do in your home
Mm.
and in your bedroom. So that was done first. And then we followed similarly to what we've done with the previous album. We have just recorded that at Adam's flat, connected to his setup and gear, and each of us separately just kind of went and had it done it all there, and kind of some basic editing already at the spot. So that was the recording part of that. And once everything was recorded, it kind of all went to Adam. Well, it stayed at Adam's. It was there already. And he was the one editing the whole thing. And we did kind of meet up at least a few times, listening to what he's done and
Of
just
course.
correct the things. But I have to admit, some of the things that the Adam was editing there, it flew over my head or
Really?
by my ear. And I look at it as like, how do you hear a difference there? Like, where? Where is it? But there was,
Yeah,
and there was a lot of work put into it to kind of cut it, chop it up nicely, and make sure that the sound is as perfect as possible before handed on to um what's the next step? Not mastering,
mixing.
was mixing. There we go.
Yeah.
Showing my knowledge there.
Yeah, I
Either you
think
guys, Jim, Dave, you want to add something there about the recording process from your perspective?
yeah, yeah,
I
no, go on,
sorry, yeah,
Dave,
no,
go on.
go. No, it did just and like Peter was saying, it was a relatively easy process. The most difficult part was getting the drums done.
Yeah.
We did them with Jamie from King Witch.
Hmm.
He's got a studio. He recorded drums, sounded incredible. His drum room sounds great. And then everything else was just done in Adam's bedroom, so it was as stress free as we could possibly get it. That was ideal. And then the mixing, there wasn't too many mixes, was there? We sent it to there's a guy we know called Chris. He's in a band in Edinburgh called Kakihara.
Hmm.
He did the mixing on it and he pretty much nailed it. I think there was maybe like
Yeah.
two or three revisions.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. And he just killed it. And then we sent it to, I keep forgetting the guy's name. Who did we send it
Grant
to?
Grant Berry.
Grant Berry. Yeah.
Very.
He's done mixing for loads of people, but in particular he did Iron Altar's album Promethean, which sounds massive. So we're like, yeah, we want him to master the album. And yeah, it was like Pierre said, really as stress free as we could make it.
Mm. Yeah, we stretched the budget out to the areas that you know that we needed it for. Obviously we're not, a massive band. We don't have a label behind us. It's all self-funded. So, this has been the most expensive project. But the recording, we kept costs sensible where possible, spending it on the drum recording. I mean, Adam is extremely talented and a massive audiophile. He has incredibly sensitive ears. So, he can really spend time listening to stuff across frequencies and engineering it, basically getting it to the best possible point before we send it off then to get mixed. We went with Chris because he did Accelerator and From Beyond. So he kind of knew what our sound was, which I think how he managed to handle those mixes so well. And then for us this time, the big expenditure was on the mastering. So yeah,
Mm,
obviously with Grant from Fader Mastering. So yeah, I mean he's done a lot. He's done Employed Serbs Conquering, which is just a
yeah.
huge record. Um, so much he's done so much stuff. So the mastering. Previously, we did just Chris mixed and mastered it as well, but we thought we're gonna take it a step up and just listening to the unmastered and then the mastered copies of the songs, massive difference. The best thing about this album is you can turn it up super loud and it doesn't distort or go all sort of strange. Like I don't know how he's done it. Um, I mean, if you look at his setup, it's very clear how he manages it. It's,
Yeah.
it's incredible. But he was amazing, and everyone was great. Grant got the masters to us super quick. So we're really happy with the quality of the product that we got
Oh
from
yeah.
our investment. It sounds superb. Um, and we're very happy about that. So yeah, massive credit all involved, but obviously Adam, like the amount of hours he put into going through stuff, and also some of the other stuff he does. He adds, a bit of texture with like very light synths and stuff in the background. Um, I can't sing Adam's praise enough.
Mm,
Massively talented individual when it comes to music. He writes obviously a lot of our stuff, so he knows he's got that ability to not just write the songs, but get involved in how the mixes are sort of coming together. So sick process. I recorded the vocals, yeah, in Adams, and it was fun. It was great.
yeah. I'm glad to hear all of this. I concur, it sounds fantastic, but excuse the analogy, but you can't polish a turd, guys. If the music was below par, you can only scrub it as mix and make it as good as possible. As what you did originally and how you got to this stage that matters the most. It's fabulous that the journey's been ultimately mostly stress-free, particularly from the recording stage. It's a positive thing as well because ultimately we want you to have a good time. I want you to have a good time. I don't want you to sit here and tell me the stories about how much of a nightmare it was and how you're just glad it's over. But we also want it to be successful. But that's odd. Success is odd these days because we don't
Yeah.
measure it in normal ways anymore, and everybody might have a different view on it. Which brings me to the question. Let's start with Dave.
Mhm.
Success. What would success for this album look like to you?
Oh, man. Just having people listen to it and love it as much as we do. That's all I want.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, just I'm at the point now where, like someone said it before, well, you asked if we want to just get it out now. Yes, but it's just because I want people to hear it because I want them
yeah.
to love it as much as I do. I like wholeheartedly behind this album. I think it's great. I think it's the best work we've done. And I think when people hear the full album as we intend people to hear it, they're going to agree. You can hear that we love every second of it. Not to big myself up or anything.
Peter, how about you?
Um, I agree with Dave. A success for me would be if kind of there was a person somewhere there that ends up just putting this album on repeat and listening to
Mm,
it constantly, just loving that album completely. That on its own would have been a success. But as you said, that's not something you can measure unless that person actually messages me and tells me that.
mm,
Feel free.
yeah,
But but if we're able to sell enough vinyls and CDs, actually, and the t-shirts that we have to at least get the money back for it. That would be a measurable success of the album. But that means there's enough people that are actually enjoying it to the point that they want to have that circle of plastic to play on their adapter or the CD or wear our t-shirt. So it kind of indicates, yeah, there's enough people wanting that.
Mm.
Jim.
So like, yeah, you don't make any money out of this kind of music or much music these days. So it's never about that. As Piotr says,
Mm,
if we could break even, that'd be sick. Any money we make off Hammer anyway just goes back into
of
Hammer. It's
course.
it's just a really expensive hobby, to be honest. But we just want it to open more doors for us. We'd love, as a result of this album, to be, to get more shows and festivals, next year. That's a big one for us, is just being able to, using this to propel us forward
Yeah.
a bit more, get the attention of some labels or whatever. And yeah, just seeing people that, aren't friends going mad about it, seeing it, appear in lists of stuff people enjoyed this year. That'd be, that would be awesome. You can't really measure it, you know, money wise, because it's also
Mm,
difficult. You make nothing out of streaming services. I'm sure, we've been making money back with pre-orders, which is awesome. But like, yeah, it's not about the money. It's about
of course.
having this unlock more stuff for us, and just seeing more people at shows and getting invited to, different shows. That's number one for us, I think.
These aren't impossible, these aren't impossible heights to reach. Of course, this is what we want from you. Of course, we'd love a bit more. Hell, if there was any money to be made in music, it'd be nice if a little bit went your way as well.
Oh
But
yeah.
as you've already said, that ain't bloody happening. But shows and stuff like that are happening. Now, I've already had a little look. The plan, of course, is to continue to be as busy as possible. Momentum built of this album. And today, as of the time of recording, pretty sure you just got announced added to a very, 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 very cool lineup.
Yeah.
Hordes, who wants to talk about that?
Towards
And what's
X,
going on the
yeah.
rest of the year? Yeah.
That's a cool one. That's one we've not
Mm,
done before. The lineup it looks killer. I didn't
yeah.
even realize the lineup was that badass. Um, yeah, we're really looking forward to that one. Um, we do have other stuff, but I can't remember any of it because I never put it in the calendar. Jim, Piotr, can you remember what we've got?
We've got more stuff coming up. There's a lot of stuff that's not announced at the moment, obviously.
Okay.
Stuff there should be more stuff. There should be an announcement. I think this week for something, which would be great. The books for the rest of the year. There's a few things here and there, but it's the focus has been on getting
Getting
the
this.
album getting the album sorted, and we're hoping to then go out afterwards with that built out press kit saying,
Mhm.
hello, we're Hammer, you also known from blah blah blah. Like that's, I think, the get, the plan, using our contacts to, get in touch with booking agents and stuff like that. Probably look at doing another tour to promote the album, something.
Yeah, we might have a album kind of. Well, we're not going to have a release gig for the album,
Mm,
but we might think of something to
Yeah, we've got stuff going on.
at some point in the future, and we would like to do it probably locally. But Edinburgh during August is well, fringe.
of
There's
course, of course. I was just going to
there's
go, yeah,
not
what?
yeah, there's not a venue that's not a comedy club or
Mm,
some sort of stand-up place during that. So slotting in a gig, it's very difficult. So we
Mm,
decided let's kind of release the album and then continue ride on the release wave at some point later this year to have that kind of
mm.
celebration of it, let's say, as a gig.
There is no end point to an album release until the next one is released, of course. A year down the line, we should still be playing this, listening to it, and talking about it. The dust never really settles until the next release is out. And I look forward to, speaking to you next year. Well, hopefully sooner, but if it is next year and seeing what you might as well make it a yearly thing. But for now, remind everybody, 1st of August, Trapped. It is out on the 1st of August, 2025. Pick it up, stream it, whatever you need to do to listen to it. And guys, we're at 50 minutes here, so I think we'll wrap this up. And I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to me again.
Not at all. Thanks for having us,
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. Always
yeah,
good
Thank
yeah.
you
having
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.